I'm making this video in the Bible gardens of the Benedictine Priory in Cove, and you can see Cove Cathedral in the background behind me, St. Coleman's. I think it's St. Coleman's, yes. I want to try and upload more positive videos, and I want to make this one of those videos. So forgive the hair, I didn't realize it was going to be so windy. It's just beautiful up here. It's a gem and not a very, very well known location. There are lily ponds and all kinds of stuff. It's just a beautiful location. Benches dedicated to people that died and stuff like that. And the gardens are, the whole place is run voluntarily by volunteers, and it's just a beautiful location. So after years of therapy and counselling, some of my backstory, other people I've spoken at public rallies and stuff, and I'm very honest and I'm very open about my background and all the crap that I went through, and but I don't let it define me. And a few years ago, don't ask me when exactly, for no apparent reason, I decided, you know what, no, you've spoken about how crap your background was for years and years and years, and you've got all kinds of counselling and therapy, and I want to give a big shout out to one therapist in particular, Marion Brown of UCC Student Counselling Services, who was just absolutely fantastic and went over and beyond the call of duty for me. I'm in a little orchard here now, a little orchard. It's a beautiful location. It's so serene, it's so peaceful. So a few years ago, I had a kind of an epiphany, I suppose, for want of a better expression. And I decided I'm going to start thinking about the positive things that happened to me in my life. And it was one of the most amazing things that I ever did. I look back on my life and I saw different things that happened. Like, for instance, when I was around 11 years of age, I had a very serious accident. I had a great friend in Ballymun, a guy called Michael, and I don't blame him in any way whatsoever for the accident, but we used to get up to all kinds of mischief. We used to rob orchards and stuff like that. And one day he showed me how to get into the lift shaft, the elevator shaft, as you say in the United States, the lift shaft in Ballymun, and jump onto the lift itself. And there was a control panel, and you could turn the lift on and off on people and scare the bejesus out of them. And we had a bit of fun, and then he showed me a trick that he knew. He got off the lift on this little ledge and let the lift go down, and as the lift came back up, there's the bells on the quarter hour. As the lift was coming back up, he jumped onto it. So I went to do the same thing, but I was wearing a pair of shoes that had fairly strong heels on them, and my heel got stuck between the concrete of the lift shaft and the metal of the cage. Of the cage that held the weights for the lift. And as the lift came up, I couldn't move. I was trapped, and I got hit by the weights, which were huge big concrete blocks, and the lift went back down again. I got hit. So when I awoke, don't ask me how I survived, because I was hanging literally by one of my legs down into the lift shaft. When I awoke, regained consciousness, I could physically put my hand inside my head. My scalp had been ripped off and my skull was exposed, and the muscle on my left leg had been torn apart, and you can actually see the bone in my left leg. The firemen came and got me out of it. I forget her name, but there was a woman whose sons used to whose sons used to bully me. She was actually standing on the floor when they brought the flats when they brought me out of the lift, and she screamed and collapsed when she saw how badly injured I was. I was so badly injured that the firemen came to see me for a couple of days afterwards to see will I recover. There's a little chapel here, a little private chapel where you can go and say prayers. It's just an amazing location. And through that experience, I met two nurses, Grace and Maureen, and I spent months in between hospital and a convalescent home before I was able to go home. But in the meantime, these two nurses realized what my home life was like, and they went out of their way to take care of me both in Temple Street Hospital and to come and visit me in the convalescent home. And Grace, I think her name was Grace Kelly, believe it or not, and Grace kept up the relationship for a couple of years afterwards and would invite me to her home, her parents' home, which was about 20 minutes walk away. I forget the name of the area. I'm still having very bad memory problems because of the sleep deprivation I've gone through for the last long while. But Grace invited me to her home, and I would have dinner at my own home, the usual screaming and shouting and fighting and bickering, then I would walk down to Grace's home, and her parents were just the nicest people you could possibly imagine, and the meal was so polite and civilized, and it was just a wonderful the contrast between my home and my Sunday dinner and their home and their Sunday dinner, my family and her family. The contrast couldn't have been greater, and it was kind of around that time that I realized my family wasn't my family put the fun in dysfunction. So she was an amazingly positive influence in my life. Then when I was around 15, I was a lounge boy in the Bell Camp Inn, and just got to know this couple. They were a lovely couple. They had a little daughter, and they kind of, between one thing and another, they kind of realized that things weren't good at my home, and they invited me to their home also for meals and cups of tea and stuff like that, and drop in whenever things are getting bad in your place. Oops, I ducked for a tree. And again, the contrast between my home and their home was just so stark. It just made me realize, that I wasn't living a normal life, whatever you want to call normal. But they were so kind to me and so good to me. I forget their names. But then there was a local butcher called Ray Lloyd, who's still alive and still working as far as I know in Ballyfermot. There was a local butcher called Ray Lloyd, and he was just fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. Whenever I was out of work, I would go and work for him. I wouldn't get paid in cash. I'd get paid in cups of tea and lamb chops and stuff like that. And I'd make grease and I'd clean down his chopping block, and we'd cut the heads off the turkeys, and we'd make dog mince and all that kind of stuff. And he basically taught me how to be a man. He was, for all intents and purposes, my father figure in life. Lovely man, lovely man. And but he was an amazing example, an amazing positive influence on my life. So they're just two of the examples of various people who came into my life and who made my life so much better. And I look back on those people and many other people since then. There was a guy in Letterkenny called Ray, I'm not forgetting his surname, a young lad, younger than me, and he helped me through a lot of my studying for my computer science degree. And when I became homeless, he took care of me. He told me to come up to Letterkenny, and he got me somewhere to live. And so Ray, just an amazing, fantastic, big-hearted guy. And there have been many people in my life that have looked out for me and have been an incredibly positive influence on my life. I can say, hand on heart, I have maybe 3 good friends, And there are people who think that it's the quantity of friends that's important. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of your friendships. That's what's important. I'm not going to name names because they're currently my friends, but one man, has been by my side now almost every day for the last, a couple of years, and has looked over me and watched out for me. And when I got into serious financial trouble with an electricity bill, he stepped up to the plate. You know who you are if you're watching this. Then there's another man, it's Will Desmond. I love him to bits. He's a great guy. Even with his own problems, he still sat there and listened to me and my problems. I've got another friend, Dave Walker. And Dave, I don't see as much as I'd like to, but that's okay. But when we do meet, we can discuss everything, absolutely everything. But mainly politics and sociology and social issues and stuff like that. We can discuss anything and everything. And then a third man, Seamus Kirkpatrick, I forget his surname. He's a retired priest from the USA, and he's just so educated. It's beyond belief how well educated he is. And we discuss philosophy and, again, social issues and all kinds of other things. We don't meet often enough, but when we do meet, it's just like starting the conversation from where we left off. And he's a good guy. If I left out anybody, it wasn't on purpose. There are a couple of other people that I could turn to if I'm stuck and need to have a chat. There's Kerry, has been very good to me, and she's got her own life, got her own problems, but she's gone out of her way at times to meet me and to let me talk and listen to me. So it's, I've got a handful. Literally, I could count on one hand the number of people I would call friends. And that's what's important in life, is to have quality friends, not the quantity of your friends. But also, as I said at the start of the video, looking back over your life, accentuate the positive, as this song says. Accentuate the positive. It's so easy to look at all the bad crap in your life. It's so easy to say, woe is me, poor me. But you must have had positive things happen also. You must have. It's like, and there's the expression, the kindness of strangers. And, I ended up homeless in San Francisco once. And this single mother with a boy took me in. She met me on the tram and realized I was in trouble and spoke to me. I went out of her way to find out what was going on, and she hooked me up with a job in a church in San Francisco, and she hooked me up with accommodation after I'd been sleeping on her sofa. So I didn't know this woman from Adam. I just met her on the trolley, as they call it in San Francisco, and she took care of me. So, I look back over my life and I look at all the different people, some of whom I got to know and, treasure. Some were complete strangers who went out of their way to do things for me. So, and I try to pass that on. Whenever I get a chance, I try to help someone. And it does come back to you. It comes back to you. So that's it. I just wanted to have a really positive video today, and show you these beautiful gardens here in Cove, County Cork. Go on, ciao.